Alright, so I'm making this video. It's more of an explanation as to the, confusion, which I knew was going to happen. The confusion on the Topsun Pokemon cards. I had already pretty much made a good chunk of this, PowerPoint that I was working on, and I knew that somebody in the comments below was going to ask really for a better explanation. Unfortunately, my issue is I only know from what I can remember a long time ago, and because this was when I was young, don't remember it all. It was such a long time ago. But I'll do my best as far as to try to explain, at least chronologically, get everything right, and hopefully this will answer some of you guys' questions. Obviously, I'm going to start out with both the greenbacks and the bluebacks. So this was about really early on. 95 was when the bluebacks came out, but the greenbacks came out in either 96 or 97. It came out a whole year later because they added, I believe that they added the hollows in those packs. I'm not too certain on that though. There could be a some kind of thing that happened that is totally different. But from what I remember, because I didn't open any of the packs, my friend did when I first saw these. When his dad got these cards from when he went to Japan. He had opened them, and that's what I believe he told me that. That's always what I've been under the impression on. But these were sold for very cheap, as it says on there, $50. I looked at other places and online, and just to make sure that I got it right, and that's what they all say. Yeah, and this is a talking about the hollows, because I had a question about this, and that's why I'm making this video, is the Topsun hollows. Those, I believe, were added on. It was a 16 card complete set. I actually thought that they were separated, but he was explaining that they were with some of the cards. I did a little bit of research, and all I could see is that they came out with the second set, which was, well, they came out with the first set, which was redone, which was the greenbacks, because the bluebacks and the greenbacks are the same set. So the only difference on these is that they're holographic, and they had the artwork on the background, and so they added like these cards and things like that. So it was just some slight variations, but pretty much it was exactly the same artwork and everything as the originals, or at least they were planned to be. So I did a misspelling there. But yeah, so there was a total of 150 cards for the greenbacks and the bluebacks. A total of 150. A lot of my information, which I got from this Pokeboon Japan, is a good explanation on it. This really gives you the most information that I at least I could find that's pretty accurate. This guy's been collecting them for a long time. I'm going to give you guys, that's the web address if you wanted to type it in. But yeah, as you can see, this is, at least from a collector's point of view, for most people, this was completed, this hollows were released, as it says, March 1997, so I'm assuming that those were a separate release. However, there is a person I did find online, but it was also through Reddit, so that's not the most best best place to get your information. Make sure that it's factual, because anybody can write it down. But from what I understood, these were on their own. I mean, you could get them, but I thought they were part of their own separate release for 1997. But they could be wrong. Or this person could be wrong. Um, Obviously, I didn't mention, but there are error cards. As you can see, there's no numbers printed on the right side of the card. Um, and that's a perfect example. And yeah, it said that there's prism hollow included in a card. So I mean, this is not really stuff that I really remember so much about. This is just stuff that I found online, because I tried to find as much research, because I really didn't know too much about it. I just knew from what I had grown up, what I had known from it. As you can see, explaining the no number. Oops, let me go back. So as you can see, there's the number there, and there's no number there. So, and obviously the gum was included with the pack. I think everybody knows that. How many Topsun cards have been graded so far? I think this is an old website. I think it was from like 2005 or something. But this is just a look at, just showing how rare it's been. I think it gets updated a lot, but I don't know how they do the gradings, how they know all the grading and whatnot. I'm sure they do it just through one source that does grading. That's been graded a lot, but that's not going to be the grading for everything that's been graded. But this is, I believe it's PSA card pop. Yeah, so this is pretty much just PSA. So if it's been graded by PSA, which is pretty official, your card that's graded is going to show up on here. But not everybody's had their stuff graded. Production date was 1995. There were many other ideas that were floated around, but the official release was of March of the 1995. At least the second release, I guess they were saying, is March 1997. So that would mean that the cards were released in the greenbacks were 1997, which I actually had not really known. I knew it was either 96 or 97, but I guess that the greenbacks came out in 97. And that's the website if you wanted to look it up. That one's not too official. That one is somebody just explaining it. But yeah, it's just so hard to find information on these cards because there's such a small amount of information. But yeah, like for distribution, people really didn't know how they were distributed. They just did it. From what I've been told from my friend, it was through the gas stations, but and like little mom and pop shops, but primarily like gas stations and things like that. But that's what I was told. I'm not sure if he might have spun it a different way. I don't know. But I do know that it was created just to try to grab kids' attentions, to make it a popular craze, which is obviously it succeeded in. So for how things went, bluebacks came first, chronologically. Then it's the greenbacks. Then it's the hollows, that 16 card set that I was showing you. Then what comes up, which most people get confused with, is the Team Rocket packs, which they had their own regular and hollows. which are both the fighting, because they were based on the TV show that started during that time in 1997, in April, which the reason why people get confused about the hollow prisms, because they're both considered hollow prisms and they came out so recently. The hollows from this set came out, I believe it was saying May or sometime before, um, or March or sometime, which was right before the TV series started. So because the TV series was becoming popular and they wanted to promote it, they created a new set, which was the Team Rocket pack. And that's where you kind of get the confusion, because I had a guy ask me, you could see on my one of my Pokemon videos on the Topsun's cards. He's asking about it because he collects it a lot, which is great. I think people should be collecting these cards because they're going to go up in price relatively soon. But these cards are getting also scarcer and scarcer to find, just because people don't know too much about them. So I think that's great that I was able to at least help some of you guys with figuring out, at least chronologically, and maybe figure out what exactly you own, and the history behind it. So as you can see, this is the second series, official series, because the Hollows, even though they came out after those two packs, they were considered part of that series. Although they are a completely separate set. It's like the greenbacks are completely separate from the bluebacks, but they're all considered part of the series. I guess the closest thing we had to this in the English is the Fossil and the Jungle, which were two different sets, but at the time they were kind of mapped in as one big set that was broken up to two, which is why you have the Pokemon base set 2, which kind of combined them all with the original. So as you can see, this is what the pack looked like. These are what the Hollows look like. They're from the TV series, and these are what the singles look like. I believe. I think I got the right one. I actually don't collect these cards. I wouldn't mind collecting them, but I didn't really grow up with collecting these cards. I only had collected those originals, because back when this came out, my friend's dad wasn't there at the time. He was there just before this all was officially released. So this was released in 97 as well, but it was just a few months later. So I hope this video clears up some questions you might have had. Obviously, there's lots of great information online, but how much of it is actually true, how much of it is speculation, how much of this can you really find out about? And it really isn't that much you can find out online on the specific series, the first series that came out, those greenbacks, bluebacks, and also the hollows as well. So I just wanted to do a clear up on that, and to get at least get everything chronologically right. I think that the weirdest part about this whole thing is because it says like 1995 as far as the copyright date. Don't let that fool you, because people and this is why these are called 1995 Topsun cards, greenback and blueback. It is not. The first one was out in 1995, but the second one wasn't out in 1995. Those are complete bogus ideas that people put out there just because they see the copyright date. It's the same with English cards. They have copyright 1995 Nintendo because Nintendo had owned it and had owned the right of the name Pokemon, and that's when it was first recognized. So it doesn't mean that those cards came out at that specific date, which for the case of the Hollows and the Hollow Prisms and the the greenbacks, that's not the case. So that's why these cards were made. This is the issue with trying to figure out the date, what exactly it is. People argue about it online quite a bit. I found when I'm searching that most people argue, and they don't have any facts to back it up or anything like that. So this is my video. I hope it helped a lot of you guys who had lots of questions on the Topsun Pokemon cards, and what everyone calls is the 1995 Topsun Pokemon series, I guess you would say. And a little explanation on that and the Team Rocket series as well. So I hope you guys like these videos. I'm trying to do more videos on Pokemon related topics. This was a great topic. I love talking about things like this, looking into more information. Maybe I'll get more. I might next buy maybe some packs or even some cards from this 1997 set. Maybe even get a whole set and be able to show you guys and talk to you guys maybe more about it if I can find more information on it. It's the same thing with those 1995 Topsun series. There's not too much information on this, but I think there might be a little bit more just because it's more recent than the 1995s. So hopefully this helps you guys, and hopefully you guys liked this video. If you did, leave a comment. Ask me any questions. I'll do my best to answer them. I know I'm not able to answer probably every question because there's still some things that I don't know too much about. But I'd be happy to help anyone that needs any help on information on these things. And I'll see you guys hopefully in the next video. Subscribe if you want more content like this. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Alright, bye.